Verse 2, and the things that you have heard from me among many witnesses, commit these to faithful men who will be able to teach others also. And so Paul says this strength will be made manifest in your life, Timothy, as you begin to pass on those sound words that have been established within you. And the idea here now of the teacher is that of teaching in process. Paul says, I taught Timothy. Timothy is now to teach faithful men, and those faithful men are now to teach others also. It's teaching in process. It's a process, a bit like a relay race, where the 4x100 meters, the man starts with the baton, he runs his 100 meters, and then what does he do? He passes on the baton. And then the next runner runs with it, and he takes it another 100 meters, and then he passes on the baton. And Paul is now saying to Timothy, Timothy, I have entrusted you with the pattern of sound words, this treasure in earthen vessels. I've entrusted you, and you now need to pass it on and invest in faithful men. It's interesting there that Paul uses the word commit in verse 2, or you might have the word in your translation, entrust. Or you might even have invest. This idea that the word of God has been entrusted to us. It has been committed to us. It has been invested in us. Now, we're not all called to be public Bible teachers, but we are all called to be witnesses of Christ. We are all called to pass on the truth. We are all called to invest in others with the investment that has been placed within us. Now, when you put your money in the bank, all that money I know you stash up in the bank, when you invest in the bank, you expect your investment to grow, don't you? You check out the interest rate and you see, if I'm going to put some money in the bank account, is it going to grow? Am I going to get a return on my investment? And this is the kind of idea now that Paul is expressing to Timothy. He's saying, the word of God that you received, it wasn't just for you. It wasn't just for you to say, oh, thank you very much. I'm going to wrap this up and go and hide in the corner with it somewhere. No. The word of God that was given to you is an investment so that it might grow, that it might reproduce, that you would indeed pass it on. And if you think about it, there are some 8 billion people in the world right now. And God has seen fit to invest the treasure that is his word into your life. Of all the 8 billion people in the world he could have chosen, he has chosen to invest the truth of his word into your heart and life. The theologian William Barclay said, every Christian must look at himself as a living link between 2 generations. Not only has he received the truth, but he must also pass it on. Now imagine your spiritual family tree. Now, we all have a family tree. In fact, my wife's looked up her family tree and done a little bit of research into all of that. And it's fascinating to explore your family tree and to see where, where all the links link up and where you came from and all the rest of it. But did you know, and have you ever given any thought to your spiritual family tree, that there is a spiritual link from you all the way back to Jesus? A literal link of faith. Jesus passed on to those 12 disciples. They invested to faithful men. Those faithful men invested in others also. And remarkably, absolutely incredibly, for 2,000 years, someone, 99% of whom we have no clue who they were, someone was faithful to pass on that baton. And it kept being passed on for 2,000 years until it reached you. Until you received it. And if only you could look back and thank every faithful person in that chain, all the way back to Jesus, who ensured, who played their part, who didn't fall over, who didn't drop the baton, but who was faithful to pass it on. And you'd go back through everyone and say, thank you so much. Oh, thank you. You passed it on. You were found faithful. You didn't drop the baton, but you passed it on. And it's reached all the way to me. A 2,000-year relay race. A testimony of faith. A testimony of faithfulness. And here I am today, a living example of that testimony of faith. And that baton now, having been passed to you after 2,000 years of faithfulness, are we going to be the one that drops it? Are we going to be the one that just tripped over? And that line of faith ends with us? Or are we going to be faithful to pass it on? And we understand the responsibility that when we receive that baton, the privilege that came with it, the investment that came with it. It was committed to me. It was passed on to me. Of all the 8 billion people in the world, the Lord saw fit to make sure that that baton reached me. And now I must ensure to pass it on. And here now, Paul is encouraging Timothy to see himself as the teacher, the passer on of the truth.